Hey, it's Dr. Van Dyke, and I have the privilege here of talking with a patient of ours who's given us permission for us to hear his story. This is Mr. Larry Bloomquist, and he has been managing his diabetes now with us since spring of 2025. So, first off, can you tell everybody who you are and how you came to meet us?
Okay, my name is Larry Bloomquist. I'm 69 years old. Um, I I had a heart attack in April of 2025. Um, did not know at the time that my A1C was well into the diabetic range. So I wasn't treating my diabetes because I didn't know I had diabetes.
Mm-hmm.
And at that time, it was a shock to me. But the focus was the heart attack, the stent, and the blood work, and all that stuff. And so that's pretty much where I started this encounter.
And how did you find me, our clinic?
um, that's a good question. I don't know if I was referred to you. Uh, that's a good question.
You might have been sent to us by your cardiologist. I don't know.
Well, I saw
Um,
a bright light in the sky, and an angel came down and said, Van Dyke. No.
that's right. So you had said that you got hospitalized for heart attack and you'd had no idea that you had diabetes at that point. Had anybody ever told you that you had pre-diabetes at any point?
No, it was never checked because I was one of these people that said you only go to the doctor when it's like life threatening. And
Ah,
so I never had a checkup for 15 years, thought everything was hunky-dory, and it wasn't one night.
well, the body physiologically, you have this innate ability to heal yourself, and the system is really good at compensating until it can't. And when it gets to that point, it's like everything goes off the cliff.
Yeah. I had symptoms, but I didn't know what they were, and I wasn't telling anybody. I think my legs would go numb or my feet would swell and stuff like that. But I just figured it was just a old age.
Did you
You know,
have any other symptoms of diabetes leading up to it, like vision was blurry, drinking a ton of water, peeing all the time?
yeah, it was, but all the time. So to me, it was just like normal. I guess my bladder didn't hold as much or whatever. I'm sure I did. Uh, Remember, we owned a contracting company, and so we were just hitting it and going and blowing, and part of the reason I had a heart attack was because I ate processed foods every day,
Mm-hmm.
and was just we were running a company, and the company kind of took hold of us, and we were concentrating on that, and then we sold it, and I retired, and that's when I had a heart attack. I retired, so.
So tell everybody about that kind of awakening process where you've had this heart attack. They've told you, by the way, you have uncontrolled diabetes. You need to see an endocrinologist right now. And what was your kind of cognitive process about, okay, I need to deal with this? What did you want to do?
Well, the heart attack scared me, and it was a widowmaker, and so I had a big question couldn't be answered, and that was why I lived an hour and a half when they said that my was completely blocked, and they had it on video.
Mhm.
Why? How did I live that hour and a half, walk around, talk, and everything else? And so nobody could. So it scared me. So I had decided when they told me I had diabetes, I'm like, what? And so I had decided that I was going to do everything they asked me to do for a year.
Mhm.
I wasn't going to eat what I like to taste. I was going to eat what the body needed. I wasn't going to sit around. I was going to exercise. I mean, everything, I'll take all my pills, etc. I was going to do everything they asked me to do for one year. because I figured if I wasn't better in a year, well, then I'm gonna go back and do what I want to and just die. You know, I mean, that's a cruel thing to say, but because I kept getting positive things. And, I think I even talked to you, doctor, that I said, look, can this get fixed? Can the diabetes be fixed? Well, yeah, I can improve you with diet and exercise, blah, blah, blah. So my wife of 45 years, we both were committed to this. Mm-hmm. And that's the secret to my success was I was committed. I didn't eat anything I used to eat. And I would sit at restaurants and try to figure out something healthy to eat, watching everybody eat what I used to eat. But I had made the commitment, and like I said, it scared me. I wasn't ready to go yet, and so I just did it. And what I found when I did it is things got better and better.
Well, you hit the nail on the head there that you mentioned that both you and your wife are committed to this process. And we find that when everyone in a household has equal understandings of the nature of the disease and the commitment that's required to really thrive, these are the people that live their best lives. It's very difficult for patients who maybe they've got the diagnosis and then there's 3 or 4 other people living in the house that don't, and they're trying to live like this little island of diabetes control, and that's a very difficult process, and it's exhausting, really.
So I had more problems than just diabetes. I had fatty liver. I had high cholesterol. So, if it was only diabetes, it would have been easier, I think. But I had a whole bunch of stuff that I had to deal with along with the diabetes. And so the commitment, I tell you what, for people that don't have a lot of self-will, I was one of those because I just eat what I wanted to do. They said, that's awful greasy. And I said, yeah, it slides down better. But so what I had decided to do was I said, look, if I set a goal of 1 year, and that the 1 year kept me on track because I said, okay, 365 days I'm going to put into this. And that gave me an end point. Sometimes we get frustrated when we say, for the rest of your life, you have to take this drug. And you go, I don't want to take that drug. It's got side effects the rest of my life. But so it was the goal of saying, I'm going to give 1 year total. And I didn't break the rules. I didn't break the rules at all because I knew if I slipped once, it was going to be over.
And your transformation really speaks to your dedication. You've had such an extraordinary response and excellent control in your condition because of the work that you put in. And you may remember when we met the first time, my famous line is, the more you do for you, the less I do to you. And have I lived up to that?
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, because I think it was 5.7 last time we checked it on my diabetes. And so, which is like pre, and I stayed on the diet. I lost 53 pounds. I weighed 268 pounds. I was 6'1", and I lost 53 of them at 205. Now it fluctuates a little bit because sometimes I have to eat out a little bit and I get too much salt.
Well, that's life, and the strategy is to work around that stuff.
And you told me I had like this, what is that you wrapped around my waist? You told me I had an index. What is that? What was it?
The waist circumference?
Yeah. And you told me that I was like obese.
Well, let's look here. I'm actually going to click over to your information because I have that note up when we first met. At that time, when I met you, you weighed 253.
Yeah.
That puts your body mass. Go ahead.
I had already started losing weight. I didn't see you until long after, I think a little bit after my heart attack.
So at that point, your body mass index was 33.5. So that's class 1 obesity, But more important than what the scale or the BMI says is what your waist circumference is showing us. And at that visit, you had a waist circumference of 43 inches. And when we see guys break a waist of 40, we watch their cardiometabolic risk go right through the roof. And so my first goal for you was get you under 40, and then we'll talk about splitting hairs from there.
Okay. Well, so in that respect, I was wearing, depending on what size pants, was 40 or 42. 42 felt better, and I'm doing 32 and 33
Look at this
now.
guy. That's amazing. The
Yeah, it's
last
also
time,
expensive because I have tons of clothes that I gotta get rid of. But
the
yeah,
last time I measured your waist, it's been a while. It was June of last year, and you had already dropped 3 inches at that point.
yeah,
So that had put your body mass index at 30.9, which is basically the line between class one obesity and overweight. So
right.
I want you to help us understand when you made the commitment to do what they told you to do and do all the right things so you don't have to be sick forever. What did that mean for your lifestyle? You started exercising, you started eating differently. Give us like a typical
Well,
day in your diet and stuff.
it wasn't punishment. I'll be honest with you. Part of it, a lot of it was my wife. She would cook very healthy, but she knew how to put a little bit of this and that in there to make it taste good.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but I never suffered. It's surprising because I had made the commitment to change what I was eating anyway, and I didn't even ask her to. I mean, she would go get a hamburger, and I would be eating, a turkey and a little bit of this and that, and the weight was coming off. I felt better. The more weight came off, the better I felt. The more I exercised, the more, I guess, endorphins were what I released. I felt better. And so I just got on this roll. Now listen, I used to make fun of people in the gym. I would say people that go to the gym don't work for a living because you can get all your exercise if you get your fat carcass out here and get to work.
Uh-huh.
And now I'm one of them. but it's okay. It's all right. Yeah,
So
I used to think guys that don't work go to the gym.
so walk us through like a typical day, breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks. What kinds of things are you reaching for now?
Well, breakfast, I try to eat some protein. That could be in form of a boiled egg or maybe a little bit of turkey. I'm on a different diet now because of some stomach issues that I've had, and I'm actually on a low fiber diet. But when I was doing the heart stuff, it was fiber, and I had fruits, and I had vegetables, and even at breakfast, but it wasn't a lot.
Hmm.
And I found that I didn't have to eat a lot of food to feel full
Yeah.
because, of course, your stomach's shrinking, and then if you eat the right foods, the vegetables and the fruits that have mass that kind of hang with you and they're not real liquidy, then you get up from the table and eat breakfast and you feel fine. And then I would go along and eat lunch, and lunch was a little bit different. I eat a little bit more food at lunch. I might actually have a sandwich and some fruit, but it was all health food. I mean, I didn't eat. If I ate a potato chip, it was a potato chip, and it was a sun chip. And I'd
Hmm.
say, okay, I want to taste one of these, and I would eat one, and that's it.
Okay.
And dinner was usually we ate soup sometimes at dinner. Dinner I didn't fill up real heavy because at first I had some sleeping issues, and so I'm not going to really beef up with a bunch of food and dinner. And so we would have soups and stuff like that and salads. And that's what I did. And I found out that there was virtually no place that I could go eat out
Hmm.
that I wasn't going to suffer some kind of side effects the next day or so. And sometimes I just live with that, like the salt. You get where you can feel salt.
Yeah.
I can eat a salty meal, and man, next day I feel like I'm walking around carrying a gallon of water on my back.
Yeah.
And also, I started tasting food. Okay, so when I was eating what I wanted to, I was eating high salt foods, which I didn't even taste them. And when I started eating the vegetables and stuff and off and watching the salt, because you have to have some salt, you have to have some sugar. I started tasting this food. It started tasting really good. And the one thing that I can sit here and tell you right now is, boy, I wish I'd have done this a long time ago.
Hey, just think if I had gotten to you 10 years ago, you might not have had a heart attack.
I wouldn't have. I wouldn't have been 268 pounds either. I was
Yeah.
strong, but I was heavy, man. And yeah, I think, man, if I could just tell somebody, if somebody would give this a try, somebody would just pull the trigger and give this a try, they will not regret it, because I don't regret it
Do
one
you
bit.
do you crave sugar ever?
No, no. In
Never.
fact, I can't take too much sugar. You can give me
What?
something that is like, I think my wife had some sweet tea the other day, and I took a sip and went, "Oh my gosh!" I said, "How do you stand this?" It was just
Oh,
and salt burned my tongue. You
really?
know, a yellow bag Lay's potato chip, which is the thin ones, the original potato chip. I stuck one of those in my mouth, and it literally burned my tongue, the salt. And I spit it out, and I said, "How in the world are we giving this to our children?"
Mhm.
Because the salt with content was so high. And so now I don't suffer any of the salt stuff that makes you do what happens to you. I don't suffer any of that unless I have a meal out that's real salty, which is
So,
very, you know.
what's your exercise like nowadays?
Well, I went through the heart rehab,
Hmm.
and I've got we walk a lot. I work out at the Y. I was doing 2 miles on the treadmill at the Y. I was doing 14 and a half minute miles. That's running about 4.1, 4.2 miles per hour for 30 minutes solid,
Hmm.
and no breaks. And that's what I worked up to, and I felt great. And then I would go work out with some weights. The weights what was left of me, I would use on weights, and it felt really good, really healthy.
Good.
So
What do you think? Go ahead.
no, you go ahead. I'm just trying to encourage somebody. Look, it sounds ridiculous, but if you will give them, even give them 6 months, because it's 6 months, I was already saying this is I'm staying this way. I mean, just give it 6 months,
Yeah.
and do it right, do it all the way.
Boy, you can do anything for 6 months, it seems.
Anything.
What do you think has made the biggest difference for you?
Well, that would be the head game. Okay.
Uh-huh.
So that would be uh I was encouraged by my wife to stay on it. There would, there's days when I get up and don't want to go to the gym, and she said, "You got to go to the gym. Let's go to the gym." And so I'm gonna say it's the head game. The
Hmm.
rest of it's not hard if you just agree to do it. It's the battle of the mind. And
It,
that the good thing about, at least I was able to go to the heart rehab, which was a place they were big about, do you feel depressed? How you feel?
Mhm.
And I think if you can overcome the head game, I think you can win this easy.
I agree with you, and it's not uncommon for folks dealing with these chronic diseases to have more depression, more demotivation, more apathy, more anxiety, but get less attention for it
Right.
because they're so focused on the heart or the
Right.
diabetes or whatever it is, HIV, whatever it is, and other stuff kind of gets off to the side. Um,
But can I
do
say
you,
something about that?
yeah.
I had to
Hmm.
come to a point, uh, because I was micromanaging, because that's the way I ran the company. I was micromanaging my health, and I ended up uh, getting to a point where it was going to my head. So I had to decide that I was going to just live and do this and not think about it, and not worry about it. A couple of times my wife had to talk me down at night. I was like, I was just reach a point where you start worrying, you start wondering, and just kind of fall apart. I mean, mentally, and she had to put me back together where she would say, okay, let's sit down, let's talk about this. And she'd have to bring reality back in there. So I highly recommend having somebody that can be your partner or your co uh, uh, patient and help you
Yeah.
through, because you're going to run into times you're going to have, and you need somebody to call. And you don't want to call the crisis hotline. You need somebody that can come alongside you and talk you through a couple of things, because I'm not here saying, oh, this was a breeze. I'm saying it's doable. You'll love it. You'll be better for it. But you need to put everything in place to make sure you make it.
You bring up such a good point, and I've talked with my staff. We've been in business now for 5 years, and I've talked with them multiple times over the years. How could we organize like a patient ambassador system where people who have been successful can be a volunteer? It's like a big brother, big sister thing, right? And help people who they're just starting their whole process and it's overwhelming and there's all this stuff coming at you. It's in that way, it's not so different than being diagnosed with a cancer. Because you got all these people. So, oh, you got to do this, you got to do this, you got to change your life, you got to take this medicine, you got to go to the scan, you got to do these things. And it's a lot.
A lot.
And it's hard to deal with that and get used to it and find kind of a new normal, right?
Exactly.
Um, you've kind of answered this already as you've been telling your stories, but do you have specific advice that you would want to give someone who's just starting today? They just found out today that their A1C is 12.
Okay. Well, let's see. Yes, I think that the more information I had, the better decision I could make. The more information that I had, the more I could expect of the result. In other words, even if it's a bad result, if you say, okay, you're going to start taking this medicine, you're going to feel like crap. Okay. Well, I needed to know that, because I don't want to take the medicine, feel like crap, and then start calling people saying, hey, something's wrong. I feel like crap. And I really, that's where the coaching, all the coaching comes in, is uh, when even side effects. I had to call doctors, and call the line in the middle of the night because I had some side effects and I didn't know anything about them, and that was on the heart side. And they said, "Oh no, that's fine. That's normal. Wait till you get to this point. For instance, blood pressure. Okay, you're taking your blood pressure every morning. Well, my blood pressure one day will be really high, and one day it will be really low, and I'm like, what's the normal? And I end up getting a range. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
thank you. If I'm in the range,
Yeah.
I'm good. Okay, today it's high, tomorrow it's low, but I'm still in the range. And I think that is when you're starting out, you have more questions and answers, and you do not know what to expect. So even if there was somebody you could call or a group that says, okay, this is what you can expect to be with diabetes when you first start, you're taking it, that would be so helpful. Because if you don't have it, then if you're a type that worries, you're going to worry, and if you're a type that panics, then you're going to get in the car and go to the hospital,
Mm-hmm.
and it may not be necessary. That's all. Nobody
Yeah.
should do this alone. No, I guess that's what I'm saying. Nobody should have to go this by themselves.
I agree with you. It's like I said, it's similar to getting a diagnosis like a cancer diagnosis.
It
It's
is.
just so all encompassing. And diabetes got its hands in all these different pies, right? The eyes, the kidneys, the nerves, the heart, the
Right.
bone, all that stuff. Um, so our philosophy is give you easy access to the tools that you need to succeed, because your understanding of the nature of the disease, how it tends to progress, and the complications that come from it is is going to have a direct relationship on your ability to be successful down the road. And
Right.
I mean, how was the diabetes education part of the process for you?
It actually was really good. It was good because you explained a lot to me in the very beginning,
Mhm.
and you explained why you explained it, and yeah, that helped me a lot. It really did. Now, at the very beginning, I was full blown in the heart side of it
Mhm.
with dealing with the blood thinners and all of that stuff. But you helped a lot just in understanding what to expect
Yeah.
and giving me an idea of as I went along, how if everything went well, it's going to look like this, and everything looks bad or didn't well, it's going to look like that. It's that information, and that helped me a whole lot. And I think you gave me some stuff in writing too.
I did. I gave you we call it the Diabetes Comprehensive Care Bible for your
Yeah,
reference. And then we got our video series there too. Um, and you wear a blood sugar sensor.
I
And
did. I did
yes.
for a while.
And how was that being able to see what's happening in real time?
It was fantastic. It was until I got one that didn't work right.
Okay. Right. Then
It
you
was
got to call
fantastic
support.
because I could figure out what foods that surprised me that I could eat, and it would my blood sugar would spike, And of
Mhm.
course, I had fortunately my pancreas was still working well, and so I would see it come back down. But that was really good, and I hated to get off of it, but I ended up getting off of it anyway. But it, it turns out now that I don't need to wear one.
Well, Mr. Bloomquist, I'm so grateful that you gave your permission for us to hear your story and share it with other patients and for the time that you spent with us today. Do you have any parting words for folks?
Stay positive.
Yeah,
You get through this.
it's true.
You can get. I like what you told me. This is not your grandmother's diabetes.
Yeah,
That's what you told me.
it's true.
We have ways to control this. You can live a long, happy life.
Yeah,
And that was really encouraging. But yeah, I just stay positive. Just go at this thing, do it what you're supposed to do, and win. Because you can
and
win
win.
this now. You can win
You're
this
right.
now.
So
It,
excellent. Thank you so much for your
sure.
story. I think people will learn from you. You've really had, again, a profound transformation from where you started in April of 25 to today. Um, you know, I want to make sure people know this is your lifestyle. You did this with lifestyle. You've had an
Yeah.
extraordinary response from doing the right lifestyle. You haven't yet used any medicines like Ozempic or Mounjaro, and you've lost by the math that I did from your first visit to the last visit we had. You've lost 11% of your weight, and that really significantly bucks the trend of what people can do on average with lifestyle. So you've really been committed and you are seeing the payoff, and it's really been extraordinary to watch that transformation.
Well, I'm glad too. I'm glad for you because you helped me.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad I helped you.
You
All
did.
right. Well, I won't take up any more of your time. Thanks again for giving us your time today, and you have a good one.
You have a blessed day too. Thank you.
Okay.